Let's say you are engaged by a fashion brand, a new fashion brand, and you should write the marketing text for the landing page of this fashion brand. Now, once again, if we follow a rather simple approach, we could write something like this. So create the marketing text for the landing page of the website of our fashion brand. As you know, this simplified approach can work, but actually, as we learned the concept already, I immediately want to write a more structured prompt. Instead of doing it like this, we will again use some tools, some things we know from the prompt engineering module and from this module already. Therefore, we could start with the role assignment once again. So we tell ChatGPT to be an online marketer and a professional copywriter. And its job is to help online stores to market and sell their products. We then add a specific goal. So we want to create an engaging and high converting landing page text. And we want to include some bullet points in here, some constraints, so to say, to make sure ChatGPT, or the text ChatGPT generates, targets the correct audience and markets the products as good as possible. For this, I prepared the following bullet points already, where I, for example, define the target audience. So we sell stylish clothing for young people between 14 and 21 years. I also define how the company sells the products. So the company uses so-called drops, or specific points in time where a new collection is released. We only sell the products online. We define what type of fashion we are selling, and so on. So basically, we try to give ChatGPT again as much information as possible to get the desired output. Now, to be even more precise, we'll also add more specific instructions. So the goal should be to use the summary bullet points as input to create this landing page text. And we also define the length of this text, and we also tell ChatGPT to come up with a fitting brand name for the company. So once again, think about the goal you have with your prompt and try to be as precise as possible when adding all these constraints to your prompt. Now let's see what ChatGPT makes out of this. So this is the text ChatGPT came up with. I don't think it's perfect yet because we have that get ready and get ready repetition here. Nevertheless, again, we see that ChatGPT incorporates my constraints. So it targets the audience. Here, the introduction, for example, is obviously not too serious. It's rather written in youth speech, so to say. So it's not a too serious style of attracting the potential customers. And this again can be a great starting point. Now, once again, just to be sure, if we would still edit this and now use this simple prompt instead, the output would look a lot different. And as we don't provide any additional information, the content is quite generic. However, I must say that in this case, the inclusion of emojis here, for example, could be good if you want to use this for social media posts, for example. So in this case, the more generic prompt obviously isn't tailored for our purposes, but still, you could also get some interesting features out of this generic prompt. This is obviously the better text. If you want to, you can now ask ChatGPT to include some emojis, for example. Add emojis to the text and describe the image that should be shown in the background of the landing page. So with this, we can now continue here and take over this emoji-like style that we saw from the generic prompt. So here we have the updated version now with some emojis and the background image description. So this is how you can use ChatGPT for copywriting. The process, when comparing it to articles, is obviously not that different. The goal here is obviously to show you different application areas for the knowledge you gained in this course. And as we talked about this emoji-like style already, in the next lecture, we'll see how we can use ChatGPT for your social media posts, as a copywriter or in general. We all use social media. And if you actively use it, sometimes it's quite difficult to come up with unique and interesting posts. ChatGPT can also help us here. Let's get started again with a simple prompt. There, ChatGPT should just write a motivational post on Instagram and Twitter. That was an easy one, isn't it? Some motivational text, some emojis, not too creative obviously, but you see where I'm going. So you can again use ChatGPT to have these basic Twitter and Instagram-like text, so to say, and then fine-tune it according to your needs. Once again, we can of course be more precise with our prompt. So here, instead of using the generic one, I added more context to my prompt. So my goal is to motivate my audience. We had this before basically, but now it's all about a good morning post on Instagram and Twitter. And the post should motivate the people to start the day energized. So let's see if this is different now compared to the previous result we had. So before we rather had the motivational focus, now it's more about hustling, being energized, being productive today. And as always, we could also ask ChatGPT to provide images for the posts. Now it tells you that it can't provide images obviously, but you get the descriptions of images that you can add to your Instagram or Twitter posts. In this case, we know we want to write a motivational post to be productive. In case you're looking for a specific topic or for a new topic that you could share with your audience, you can also do this with ChatGPT. This prompt here should provide us with some new Twitter post ideas. We give ChatGPT some context about what we do, so let's see if ChatGPT comes up with some creative Twitter post ideas. Here we get entirely new posting ideas. But you can also leave the world of posts and think about your Twitter profile, for example. ChatGPT can also help you to write your Twitter bio, so the text that you can find below your image and your name. With a prompt like this, where you tell ChatGPT what you're doing. So in my case, I'm an online educator teaching people how to code, for example, and I need 5 examples for my Twitter bio. So here ChatGPT provides some examples for these motivational and pretty cool sounding Twitter bios. You can also use ChatGPT for your social media to summarize a larger text you read into a tweet. Let's say we read a long text about the beauty of spring, which in this case we simply create in ChatGPT quickly. So this is the inspiring text we read, and now we want to share the core content of this text in a motivational tweet. As easy as it is, I won't add too many constraints in here, as I just want to show you some ideas how you can use ChatGPT for your social media activities. And here we got it. Here we get the tweet about the beauty of spring. So these are just some ideas, obviously. Feel free to be creative about your own social media accounts and how you can integrate ChatGPT into these. Always keep in mind though, you can use ChatGPT as a helper, but typically your social media accounts should be about you or your profession. So don't become too auto-generated. In the end, it should still be all about you. For the next content generation topic where ChatGPT can help us, we should put ourselves into the role of somebody who runs a podcast and who has to interview people. So our goal is to prepare an interview in the end. And the awesome thing is that our next interview is with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, preparing such an interview can be quite complicated because you want to find the right tone and also find good and interesting questions. You want to break the ice to get a more personal connection to the person, to make the whole interview as interesting as possible for your audience. Now, ChatGPT can of course also help us here. Again, I want to show you a generic prompt to prepare such an interview. This could be a prompt like this. So we tell ChatGPT that it has to prepare the interview and that we need 15 questions. And the result doesn't look too bad at first sight, But for example, if I look at the third questions talking about The Rock's struggles with depression, I don't think that's a nice way to basically start the interview. That's a very personal question. I want to instruct ChatGPT to prepare the interview questions a bit differently. For this, I could again add a more detailed prompt that gives ChatGPT some guidance regarding the type of questions it should ask. Here I share that the interview is in a relaxed atmosphere, and the first questions should be some icebreakers to get started. Then I want to dive into some business or job-related questions regarding projects and movies, and at the end, I want to ask some private questions. Now with this updated prompt, ChatGPT should create a better structured interview and not start with personal questions immediately. Still, this reads a bit generic in my case. As you know, your results will look different. Therefore, I could also instruct ChatGPT to include some of his projects, some of his movies in the questions. So I could say, this is good. Please also include some of his projects and movies in the questions. So this time, we will not use one single prompt, we will do the iterative process once again to derive at the result that we want to have in the end. And it should be his projects, not this projects. Sorry about this typo. But ChatGPT still knows what I mean. It looks alright. As always, you should check the facts, so make sure that The Rock really was part of the movies that we saw in the project-related questions area. But now, the whole interview has a more personal touch and is more tailored towards The Rock. With this, we completed this social media, digital marketing related content creation with the help of ChatGPT. But there are also other, maybe more traditional jobs where ChatGPT can also be a great help to create content.